Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Sonia Connolly. She's the Communications and Community Outreach for Healthy Acadia, and Ursula Hansen. She does early childhood and mindfulness coordinating with Healthy Acadia, and they're here to talk to us today about a free workshop on mindfulness and self-compassion. Guys, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So of course, we're doing a pre-record. This is Monday as we record this, but this workshop will happen this afternoon on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. at the Moore Community Center on 125 State Street. But what I wanted to have us talk about today is what is mindfulness and what can we all learn from this practice?
Yeah. Well, I'll share like a formal definition of mindfulness. There was the pioneer of mindfulness is Jon Kabat-Zinn, and in the 70s he really brought mindfulness to our Western culture, and his definition is paying attention in a particular moment without judgment. So paying attention with awareness in a particular moment without judgment. So that's a formal definition of mindfulness, but I'll have Sonia kind of talk about it
like
day
inner
to day.
Or for other folks as well around us.
Yes.
It really ranges. It can be, you know, a daily deep contemplative practice, or it can be just noticing life, you know, where we just pay attention. We're driving, and you know how, I don't know if I'm thinking of a thought bubble. When there's all these thoughts in it, we're thinking of the past, we're thinking of the future, all the to-do lists.
Like a computer page with 17 tabs
Exactly,
open.
that's exactly, and our lives feel like that a lot. And so when we notice, oh, that's happening, and then just gently bring ourselves back to the present moment, what's happening outside of me, what's happening inside of me, and the accumulation of that supports our well-being. It increases our well-being.
Right.
There's so many studies that have shown there's an increase in our sleep, there's a decrease in anxiety, depression, there's an increase in well-being, overall well-being. And so many times we think that means I have to be mindful 100% of the time. But really, it's the process. It's about noticing and then just coming back to the present moment.
Right.
And that's what we're going to talk about on Tuesday.
My interpretation is that there's not always something you can do about what's going on and all the things in your head. So you can't always find a solution. And I think that's where that self-compassion comes in, right? Because it's like, well, that's just how it is right now. I can't do anything about it, and I can't change it.
I can't change it,
Yes, and
go.
it's so true. You know, that opportunity for us to notice, of like those times when it's like, oh, this feels a little overwhelming, and I can notice it, and then I can get curious. Oh, like my stomach is in knots, my throat, you know, it's tight, and then I can. This is where that self-compassion piece comes in. I can ask myself, like, what do I need right now?
Yeah.
What can I give myself, to support the situation? And then we can do things differently.
Right.
And that, I think, is such the powerful moment, is when we have the opportunity to do it differently, instead of that autopilot that we always tend to be on. Like, how many times have we driven in a car and you get to some place and you're like, I don't know if I remember that stoplight or
it's
that.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that opportunity to really be present, and then the pause that allows us to maybe choose a different way when those times are difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ursula, you're leading this workshop on Tuesday night. Can you explain what can participants kind of expect if they attend?
Yeah. So on Tuesday, we'll be talking about the definition of mindfulness, the definition of self-compassion, and we'll also be practicing and exploring different tools and techniques to experience mindfulness and self-compassion. And so, you know, I think so often we can be so unkind to our own selves, and we're our worst critics. And so self-compassion, though it sounds so basic and so simple, is an incredibly powerful tool to remind us. So we have to use our mindfulness to come back to this present moment and say, why am I being so unkind to myself? Because it's never helpful.
Right.
And so self-compassion is this.
Because you do want to help yourself.
We want to help ourselves. and ultimately, we are our own best friends.
Right.
And so the self-compassion aspect is really about reminding, how would I treat a friend,
Yeah, that's
would I
always
treat
what
a
I remind
friend?
myself too.
right?
And I hate to cut you off. It looks like we're about
Yeah,
out of time.
absolutely.
But just so that folks know how to get there, again, it's 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. I was wrong earlier, at the Moore Community Center in Ellsworth. It's at 125 State Street. And if folks want to learn more, you have a website?
Yes, we have a website, healthyacadia.org, and we also we provide a monthly mindfulness series.
I love it. So there's all sorts of other opportunities
All
for
sorts
folks
of
to
other
learn more.
opportunities, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank
Thank you.
Of course. We'll send it over to Weather.